Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash, and do honors to the apostles and elders of Great Muslim. Salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Noah Allah from Gemma, Chicago, and come back with you with another lesson. And I'm just going to go ahead and go into a quick lesson about Daniel chapter 7, alright, which is prophecy that is being spoken of. And right now, the Babylon the Great, all right, which is America, all right, this is the revival of the Roman Empire, all right, and which the Roman Empire, all right, basically came straight back alive, all right, since the Renaissance, all right. But nonetheless, I was just looking at some news articles and whatnot, and I decided to come across this video right here. And here, you're seeing that basically U.S. Basically what Trump is saying is that they will acquire Greenland whether they like it or not. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this video because, hey, Trump is an example as Esau being proud. All right. Which in Daniel 7 it tells you that it says that whose look was more stout than his fellows, word stout meaning great. And you look at America, all right, is the most prideful, all right, it's the most proud, all right, it's the more stout, all right. And here you got the talking, the one that's talking, all right. People here in Babylon the Great, right, MAGA, all right, they look at this, they look at Trump as a god, all right. They look at him as a chosen one, so to say, you know what I mean, right? Because Trump is making major moves, but ultimately, what Esau doesn't know is that, ultimately he's only leading himself into destruction. All right. Well, the Lord is leading Esau into destruction at the end of the day. Because according to prophecy, right, in Revelations, it says that the beast shall hate the whore. All right. NATO and the EU are now anxious because Trump wants to take over Greenland, and that basically goes against the alliance between the U.S. and NATO. All right. I'm gonna play the video. Fuck is this?
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal of, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And and by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too. I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Mr. President, why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. you don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, you know, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, there he says it again. You know, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. And yeah, you know, well, basically, you know, the U.S. is seen as the bully of at the block, right? And what, you know, here you see the U.S. is basically driving NATO into war, all right? You know, the U.S. is causing tensions around the world and shit, right? So as Israel, right? And then what, now they're saying that, you know, they want to acquire NATO, right? First they were talking about, you know, invading it, all right? But now they want to, you know, acquire it through the safest way. But if, you know, if NATO doesn't comply, you know, they're gonna have to take it over. You know, well, Trump gave them an option. Either they want to do it the hard way or the easy way. But yeah, you know, you could tell that, you know, you could tell that NATO, right, is pretty much fed up with America, all right? Because what, America is doing too much, right? Well, here, you know, you got news articles, right? Say, you know, you got news articles that say, you know, take Greenland, lose NATO. Damn. Yeah, a lot of things are happening. God damn. Damn. But no, let's I'm gonna just go straight to scriptures, right? This is Daniel 7:15. It says, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretations of the things. These beasts, which are 4 and 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth, and the 4, the 4 beasts, all right, is basically first, it's talking about the Babylonian Empire. Second, the Medo-Persian Empire. Third, the Greek. And fourth, the Roman Empire. All right. And what, we're in the revival of the Roman Empire, basically. You know, the U.S. is basically the revival of the Roman Empire. All right. And what, you take America is basically known as, the bald eagle, all right? So as Rome, all right? They're known as, the bald eagle. Or, you take a coin or whatever, right? It shows like a a face of a man as a president, whatever. George Washington, whatever the fuck, such and such. And what you take up a coin of Caesar, all right, and a Roman coin of Caesar, and you can see the resemblance. Even Rome had a Senate house, and America has a Senate house. You can see the resemblance, the comparisons between both. Which this America is indeed the Roman Empire. But it says, verse 18, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And that will happen real soon. Alright, at the destruction of America. Alright, but first the chip has to come first, which is a digital device that will be implanted underneath people's skin. Alright, which will be the new way of buying and selling. Which is spoken in Revelations 13:16. Verse 19 it says, Then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And what America has a strong well, I want to say strong now, alright, because all I just see is a bunch of faggots and shit. Alright, just a bunch of hopefully they don't take my video down because of that. But yeah, America's military is weak now, but America's military might, alright, they're just looked at as proud, alright. They say that America has, the strongest military, right? And so was Rome, right? The Roman Empire had the strongest military as well. It says, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn had eyes. Oh, so like the 10 horns, alright, speaking about the NATO and the EU, right? And it says, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, and those that came up and 3 fell, alright, is going into the British, alright, the Spanish, and the French, because all those 3 were basically goes into history more into history about which power would basically take over America, all right, but it ended up being the British, and what that's when you had the 13 colonies, all right, that basically established America, all right, is through the British, all right. Great Britain. That's where America sprung out from, Great Britain. But it says, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great, which is speaking about America. It says, yeah, and it had a mouth and spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, and that's right. America is a proud, a stout nation, right? You go into that word stout, says great, great, a figure of power, captain chief. And what you have America, right? That is basically speaking. You have your Trump, being the talking head of America, speaking about uh that mouthpiece that's speaking about great things. All right, talking about taking over Colombia, Cuba, all right, Greenland, all right, Mexico, sending the U.S. troops to fight cartels over there in Mexico. All right, Trump is a madman. He's going crazy and shit right now because he's in power. All right, the wicked is in power right now. So yeah, they're gonna do some crazy ass shit. All right, they already took over Venezuela. Says whose look was more stout than his fellows. I behold, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. And that's right. The same horn made war with the saints. That's why our people are in a low state. We're in a fucked up condition. All right, we're living in poverty even until this day. All right, but soon all that is gonna change. All right, after when America gets destroyed. Right. Verse 22 it says, "Until the Ancient of Days came," which is speaking about Yahweh, "and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints of the Most High, that the saints possessed the kingdom." So, which will happen real soon. Right. Verse 23, "Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from all the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." The 10 horns going into NATO and the EU, right? The North Atlantic Treaty. And it says, "And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first." Salakia, I think the 10 horns in this scripture is basically only speaking about NATO and Revelations, all right? Where it says, "The beast shall hate the whore," is basically going into NATO and the EU, yeah. But it says here, "And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings." Which the 3 kings is going into the Spanish, the French, and the British. Trying to establish power over establish they're basically taking how would you say, be the founder of America, basically, so to say. It says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of times." And that's right. That's even up to this day. Esau is wearing us out right now, because what we're still in captivity, Alright, we gotta go to Esau for the want of all things. And what, Esau's in power, so he sets up these legislations, he change up the calendar, right? Set up these decrees that ultimately oppress our people. And it says, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy unto the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. And that's right, this will happen real soon, right? And really, it's at the door, all right? Because what, we only have only a few prophecies are left to be made manifested, all right? The MOTB, all right? Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, all right? The nuclear destruction of America and the deliverance. Right? Peace. And they, NATO's pissed right now, right? You can see that NATO is basically, you can see that that NATO has a hatred towards America, because what, America is causing a lot of problems right now all around the world. It says, I'm going to start with verse 14. It says, Revelation 17 and 14, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. The Lamb is speaking about Yahushua. Alright, it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful, which is the Lord's elect, the chosen and faithful. Verse 15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, which is America. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, which is going into the NATO and the EU. Alright, which the NATO and the EU will eventually, alright, shoot their missiles along with Russia, China, Iran, alright, the rest of the EU nations, or NATO, of course. They're all going to shoot their missiles at America, and they're going to destroy America with, ICBM missiles. It says, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahushua hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give the kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahushua shall be fulfilled. And that's right, at the end of the day, right? It's all prophecy that will come to pass real soon. Alright? And hey, it's all of the Lord's will. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Speaking about America. Well, that was it to that lesson. Alright. Just want to touch base with what you're seeing on the news. Alright. Because what, it's prophecy. Alright. It's going according to prophecy. Alright. Which NATO will soon turn their backs on America. Because what, America is causing problems. America is, Trump is really doing a good job, bring this place down. Right? That's all I have to say. But yeah, shalom.